Hello and welcome to Kia e-Niro Diaries on the 15th of March 2023. So 4 years ago today, took delivery of the car, and 4 years is quite a significant moment in the sort of French car ownership experience, because it's when the car is 4 years old, it has to go for its first contrôle technique, which is the French equivalent, obviously, of the MOT in the UK. We have those every 2 years, and it's quite interesting actually, because I went yesterday to get it done, and in France you can't get your MOT or CT as we call it done at the same place that you get your car service. So the control technique stations are all they do is control technique. They're not allowed to service cars. They are franchised out by the government, and they are strictly controlled. So in some ways I think it's sort of safer, because there's no kind of I'll sort your car out, mate, for you at your local garage. Not that that ever happens in the UK, of course. Who would want to try to cheat the MOT system there? Anyway, the other thing you have to do is, when you've got your CT certificate, you have to put it on the window of your car, just next to your insurance, which is also has to be on the car, and police do check this here. So I think it's a good system. But when we used to have, before we got the e-Niro and I had fossil fuel cars, the control technique would always take about 40-45 minutes. And I remember seeing up on the wall, this is before I got the e-Niro, that an electric car was actually more expensive to put through the control technique than a fossil fuel car, which seemed crazy because there's not a lot to do. Well, I went yesterday expecting to have to pay about €100, but in fact I only had to pay 80. It's actually the same price now. Obviously, people have complained about this, and it only took 10 minutes. Well, it was 10 minutes of testing and 10 minutes of paperwork. They just put it on a machine that tests the brakes, and they test the handbrake and the alignment of the headlights and all the rest of it. And so it was all done and dusted, and they're very happy, I think, to run the test on an electric car, because it's really clean and there's not messing about looking at oil and exhausts and all that nonsense. Anyway, so on the odometer then, at the 4-year point, 76,886, which means that during the year I've done 19,055 kilometers in the car, which is a bit less than we did in the previous. Up to the 3-year point we did 19,418, so a little bit less. The other thing is that I never zero out the trip meter, which is measuring the efficiency, so kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I just let that roll, and it's interesting that we've never gone above 14.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So it's about, what, I don't know, I'll put that up on what it is in miles per kilowatt hour anyway. I've always considered the worst case scenario is that we do about 14.5, but of course we did a lot less driving in the winter this year. We didn't really have any long trips like we did the previous year, so it's never gone above 14.1. And of course now we're getting into the warmer weather. It's a beautiful spring day here. It's going to get to about 16 degrees today. The solar panels are pumping it out, which is great. I'm gonna use 14.1 as an average. It's a worst case average, and of course as we go in through the summer where we do more driving, that average drops, normally gets below 14, maybe 13.9, 13.8. but if you don't zero the meter out, then you eliminate the highs and the lows. And I know that driving around here locally, we get comfortably over 5 miles per kilowatt hour in the summer, and then hammering it on the motorway into a headwind in midwinter, it's more like sort of 18 and 19 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So anyway, I'm using 14.1, and at the end of this I'll just do a quick wash on it like I did last year with the Karcher, and we will have all the stats at the end. So after 4 years, how's it wearing? Well, it seems to be wearing very well. I've come to love the steering wheel particularly. I like the steering wheel on this car. The seats still look really good. It gets used as a little bit of a van by Mrs. e-Niro, who uses it. She does some work for a charity, and they're always carting stuff around, and she puts all kinds of stuff in the back. The back seats are down most of the time, only get put up when I sort of vacuum and clean it on the inside. So it gets quite a bit of bashing around, but it's taking the knocks quite well. On the external side, there's a few scrapes and scratches, which is normal, for a car of this age, I think. And it just seems to be quite well built. Things I don't like, where the lane keep assist button is, there's a lot of sort of roads around here which are lovely to drive on, with white lines, and you don't want constantly your steering wheel being pulled around. So I switch that off, but you can't actually see the lane keep assist button from the driving position very easily. I've got used to it now. I can zero it. And then the other thing that I've noticed is that the gas struts on the tailgate, they don't raise the tailgate quite so smartly as they did when the car was newer, and I have bumped my head a few times, so maybe that's a bit of a weakness with the car. But I think generally, I mean, nothing's gone wrong with it in the last year. I had a slow puncture which on the front left side, which I got fixed locally. Tyres are about 22,000 kilometers in. I'm expecting at least another 20,000 out of them. It's cost very, very little to run, and it's never given any problems, especially since I changed the 12-volt battery last year. Okay, so I'm gonna just put all the stats up for the year of ownership on the car as I run through giving it a bit of a wash, which it desperately needs. We've had a period of sort of mild wet weather, which we needed the rain here. We've had a very dry summer and a not very wet winter, really. So the garden needs it, and that's what we do here. A lot of gardening. Okay, take care. Thanks for watching, and until the next time.